Welcome back to Physics with Professor Ray. 1D kinematics with graphs is how we're going to be tackling these. Now, this whole activity is going to be problem solving, right? Now, when you start talking about problem solving in physics, anytime you have a problem, right, it means you got to figure out what to do. And sometimes that could be a lot of work. And it's going to be some work in physics. This activity, we're going to be practicing going through the process. Now, as I say later, this process, it's abstract, right? It's not always necessarily linear, but we give you a basic problem set that I talk about here in round 2. But before that, we're getting into the thick of things in terms of physics. Reminder of tutoring services if you're able to take advantage of them. Most of these are on campus. SLAC, Help Center in the Physics building, RFM, Roy F. Mitty, and the CLC, the Collaborative Learning Center. That's in Ingram. If you can't take advantage of those, try to come to office hours. Maybe Slack or the CLC has some online options as well, right? But it's better to try to get that help now rather than saying, Dr. Ray, how do I get that one more point that I need at the end of the semester? Because the answer is going to be, I understand, I really do, but now is not the time to be asking for help, right? Now is the time to be asking for help. Now is the time to invest in the work, right? So let's talk about round 1, which is solving quantitative problems. We've been looking at motion in terms of graphs for all the other activities that we've been doing so far. And so I'm going to continue to use graphs when I solve these problems. There's other methods to do this. And if you're interested in them, you can look at that one. It's labeled, probably not 7 anymore. Let me take that away. 1D kinematics, table method walkthrough. I think that's in module 7, but it's under the additional learning materials, right? So I don't cover that in class. If you want that, go look at it other places. If you look in any textbook, that's probably what they use. If you look at any video, except for the one you're watching right now, they'll probably talk about the table method, right? And I'll show you where that comes from in round 3. I'll do the graph problem, then I'll do the table if you care to watch both, right? And then we'll go from there, right? But if you want to get that table method, that's the option. The point is, find a way that helps you to solve this. But in all these problems, we expect to really see 3 things. There's going to be, maybe, I think, a homework problem. That's where we're going to grade this homework, and you're going to have to show the picture, right? You're going to have to show the graphs, show the graphs. And then you're going to have to show us how you got these equations, right? Or show the tables. What do you know? What do you don't know? Etc., etc., right? So quantitative solving problems, lots of ways to do this. But round 2 outlines that basic process that we're going to be doing in every single problem, essentially for this activity. The next one we do free fall. We'll take a little reprieve when we talk about vectors, and then we'll bring it back and put it all together when we talk about what is that? Projectile motion. Okay, so basic process. 1, draw a picture. We've been doing that for a while. You have your picture that you get from the words, from the problem, have your origin, coordinate axis, positions, velocities, right? Then talk about from that, you can draw your graphs. And you're going to see how if you have a great picture, creating those graphs just comes right from the picture, right? You'll have usually we don't draw the position time graph, so that one pretty much can scrap out. But when solving problems, velocity time graphs, acceleration time graphs, those are the 2 big ones that you'll want to take note of, pay attention to. And actually what I'll do is I'll put a nice star, right? Star, right? Those are the ones we're interested in. And then from those graphs, you can build your equations, right? If you're doing the table process, you'd have a list of known, don't knows, and you'd show hey, I'm going to be using this equation, right? Okay, the rest of this is going to be walking through that whole process with picture, graph, equations, rinse, rather, repeat. I don't want to say buckle up because here it comes. Get a good grip on your back because here comes a couple fastballs. But we'll start slow. We'll start slow and we'll build up and build up and build up. And you can always rewatch if you need to. All right, let's get going on to round 3.